Hello everyone, welcome to a tutorial today on the robot teaching interface of the AUBOPE software. This interface is very important as this will allow you to control the movements of the robot and set waypoints for projects and procedures. Starting at the top left corner, we have the simulation visualizer. So we have the robot here. You can drag around the robot, move it around just to better visualize the simulation. In the work mode, you can select real or simulation robot. Real robot means you have an actual robot connected, so when you move the robot around, the actual robot will move. However, because we don't have a robot currently connected to this virtual machine, we're just going to simulation mode. However, it is advised that when you do try new trajectories of things with your robot, actual robot, you go in the simulation mode first to make sure it is as you want it to look, and before actually putting it onto your actual robot to use to prevent any possible damages and things like that. So we can start off by looking at the position control. We can control the positions of the robot. As you can see here, we are moving it based on the different axes, the X, Y, and Z axes, and these axes are set based on reference coordinate systems. Currently we're in base mode, meaning all the axes are set based on the axes here you see at the bottom left corner, the base of the robot. However, we can also change that to flange center, and we will now be following the green, red, and blue arrows on this flange tip here. As you can see here, the Z, Y, and X axes are now different. You can add other reference coordinate systems that you feel necessary in your projects as well. Here, we can not only control position, we can also control orientation, meaning we'll keep the tooltip here, the target fixed at the same position, however, just adjust its orientation. So we can rotate the Z, Y, and X axes without changing the actual position of this tooltip. We can also control just the joint angles, so we can control each individual joint from joint 1 to 6, so joint 1 at the bottom and joint 6 at the very tip of the tool. And as you can see here, we can rotate every single joint. And we can also limit the speed. Right now we're at 100%. We can reduce the speeds of the movement. So now if I, for example, rotate joint 1, it is much slower than before. The bottom left corner shows the manipulator pose. This is where you can see the actual position and orientation of your target, which is the flange center. One useful thing to note here is in step mode. In step mode, you can do finer tuning of the position and orientation of your robot. So you can go down to 0.1 millimeter or degrees for your position, orientation, and joints. So now, for example, if I click position, as you can see here, the movements are very fine. And same as in joint angles and things like that. Now, another two important buttons here are the zero pose and init pose. Zero pose basically sets the robot to all zero joint angles, which is this orientation here, as you can see. However, the init pose is something that you can set. This is just the initial pose or the initialized pose that if you wanted to set your robot to, you can do it. To set this pose, you can go into settings, robot, fixed pose, and an init pose. You can click set pose, and you can just rotate your joints or set your positions to whatever. Oh, as you can see here, I'm in step mode, so it's very slow. So I'm going to get rid of that. So now, there we go. Let's say I want my pose to be, let's say I want that to be my pose. I can just click confirm on the bottom right, save again, init pose saved. Now if I go back and I move my joints and things like that, and I click init pose, hold it, it'll automatically move the robot to the init pose that I just set. And there you go. That's all the basics that you need to know for the robot teacher interface. And we will cover how to utilize these commands in your projects in later videos.